Hi guys, welcome back to Girls
Guys.
Gossip Podcast hosted by yours truly, Aoife.
And Josh.
Let's get it started. I thought it was only right, since we've now both gone and seen the movie and we're big stands, we would talk everything Michael Jackson.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I think first of all we'll start off with the film. Obviously that's it's only just come out this week, wasn't it?
A week and a half, I think. Yeah.
So opinions on the movie?
Honestly, I really liked it. As far as, I'll just say biopic. As far as biopics go, I really, really liked it. Like, I've seen like the Queen one or the Freddie Mercury one. I've seen the Amy Winehouse one. I think this is the best and most realistic one that I've seen so far, and probably because it's an actual family member that's not only playing him, but like his whole family, like his son, are producing it, so they know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the ending, I was like, "Girl, we've still got 20 years. What's going on?" Didn't realize that there's a number 2 coming out, but I actually really, really, really enjoyed it. Like, I would go and watch it again, 1,000,000%.
Oh, I am going to watch it again. I feel like it's one of those, and I obviously went with my uncle. He's a massive, massive stan.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally, when it ended, he went, "Wow, that was superb." Like, he was like, "Wow."
Such an uncle response.
This man has not gone to the cinemas in 40 years. So for him to say that, he's watched a lot of stuff at home, and he thought, but we both said it was one of them where, like, because it was like someone who's in the music industry and it was a lot of music, it was literally solely around music and dance. You needed it in the cinema to be able to hear it perfectly.
1,000,000%.
Like, you needed to be able to, it felt, some of the concert scenes, I felt like I was at the concert.
Yeah.
And I'm so gutted I was born so late, because I would have been at the front. I would have stood in the pit for that one.
Yeah. I'm finna be in the pit.
I'm finna be in the pit.
But
I would have been in the pit. Like, I know every time Will say about doing a concert, I'm like, yeah, but I'm sitting because I can't stand. I would have been stood for 12 hours.
I'm not sitting at Michael Jackson. Like, my foot would be going
but
insane.
in the clips, I don't think there was any seats. Everyone was stood. There was like mass seas of crowds where they were all just stood, and I thought,
honestly, I'm just so, like, I just honestly love the fact that, like, his legacy is being reminded in a way that is so, like, how do I word it? But it's been, the film was done right, and it didn't disrespect his legacy at all. Obviously, when number 2 does come out, which I think has been already filmed, like, they're pushing, because of the demand, they're already pushing it forward. Like,
they've said about like next year. I think.
Yeah. Well, I went to go and look, as in today, to go watch it later today. All sold out at our local cinema, which, by the way, doesn't see dust normally. And it's sold out tomorrow. This film's been out 10 days, by the way, guys. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, because even I went, and I'm not being funny, like, I went at like 11 o'clock in the daytime.
Yeah.
Because you've got nothing better to do. But even then, like, this when I booked it, there was maybe 2 lots of other people in there. When we got there, the whole thing was packed.
Yeah.
And
I went on release day, because I'm one of those funny people that when there's a film, I have to see it on release day, because otherwise TikTok spoils it for you. So I went on the release day in the evening. I think it was literally 8:30, last showing of the day. Not one empty seat. It was, and I've never been in a cinema that's that packed. Like, even like Wicked was never that packed. Even like the Amy film, I'm trying to think, even Barbie, when I went to go watch Barbie, which is obviously massive, weren't even that busy. Like, I have never been in a cinema where every single front to back was rammed and it was busy.
It's purely down to the fact that, though, this film has targeted so many different generations. That's why, like, you think Barbie, that was obviously aimed at, like,
girls and the guys.
Yeah, and then obviously the different, like, Wicked, again, it's going to be, whereas this one was targeted for, it was made for everyone, which is kind of a staple, because that's what Michael would have wanted.
Yeah.
Because his music was for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's how he would have liked it. He would have liked the fact that everyone was there. Yeah. And I really hope he's up there watching.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
And he's proud.
He would have loved the girls. He would have loved this part. The girls and the guys.
He would have, you know what? He probably would have come on it.
He would have. Like, I just think, like, his nephew who played him, Jafar, my husband, by the way, Found out the other day as well, he's engaged. I was heartbroken. There's still time. There's still time. He hasn't met me yet. I honestly, I know it's his nephew, right? I was actually creeped out by how much he sounded and looked like him. Like, because
But
I don't,
obviously that voice was, he did that
he
to
trained,
sound
yeah.
like it. But you know, originally he wasn't even an actor.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what me and my uncle would, because he was like, even the kid that played
Oh,
young
he's
Michael, you
adorable.
know how he got about it? It was because he used to just film videos of him at home dancing to all the dances, and then they asked him if he wanted to come for like a audition.
Yeah.
And I thought,
He
that is
was so
crazy.
cute.
He
Like,
was adorable. But
honestly.
even he looked so much like young Michael. I was just like,
Yeah. Well, like,
and it was like if you were to squint enough,
oh,
and
yeah.
bear in mind, I obviously need to wear glasses, so if anything, it looked like it was Michael to me because there was no glasses from me.
Mm.
But I was just like, there was certain angles, like especially when he'd do like one where you could see like just his side profile. I was like,
Are you
like,
back?
you, are
Yeah.
you alive?
Like, I I just think the casting was amazing. And like, even though obviously I know I don't look that much like my uncle, like I was honestly astounded by absolutely everything. And I think the way that they've done it is so respectful. And honestly, Jafar was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Like, cast
100%.
wise, I think they all did incredible. Even, is it Carmen Domingo, the dad? Can't stand Joe Jackson. But I think that he did amazing. Like, I hated him. Like, I wanted to
Yeah,
actually
he
strangle
played the
him.
villain
And that's how,
well.
yeah, that's how you know he's done well. I got to shot him on the seagulls. But I think that genuinely they did so well. But
You know what I felt made it more perfect was the fact that Jafar is Jermaine's son.
yeah, it was
And
like,
obviously,
of all the
they said that
brothers,
if when he gets an award for because he should get an award for this
Oscar,
movie,
give him it.
when he gets that, he needs to say like, "I want to give credit to all my uncles, including Jermaine."
Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, that would have been a real missed
Well,
opportunity
I
there.
mean, Jermaine is my least favourite Jackson brother, if I'm honest, after what he did to Michael. So he did apologise, but you know, I hold a grudge even though I'm not part of the family, but I don't care. But it's fine, I'll be my father-in-law one day, so I've got to get past it. But I just think from start to finish it was so well. So honestly, obviously the movie starts out, if you haven't watched it, spoilers, we should have by now.
Spoiler
I
alert!
I honestly think that the way that they just targeted it, I like the way that they addressed everything that needed to be addressed at the first part of the movie in his life. Do you know what I mean? So the way that it opened with the kid, I thought that he was insane. Like, the voice on that little, I hope he grows up to make music because I will be
Yeah,
streaming. I honestly think that I think it was good as well because obviously being like an MJ fan like we are, I think that, like, if I'm honest, nothing really shook me because I feel like I already had a deeply understanding of what went on.
yeah.
Do you
I
know what I
feel like there'll be
mean?
people who, know who Michael Jackson is, likes a few of his songs, doesn't know his backstory.
Yeah,
That that would be quite shocking. But again, like it wasn't. I knew what I was going in for. Do you
a
know what I
hundred
mean? Like it wasn't a
percent.
big surprise. So
Yeah,
it wasn't like I was like, oh my god. But
that
I knew it
happened.
was like
Yeah,
that happened
yeah.
type of thing.
I think the main standout scene to me was, so obviously it starts with the dad forming Jackson 5 and getting them to perform. The scene where he whipped him with the belt broke me, like, because you
And
knew
you
it
could
was
hear
coming,
the
right?
like screaming.
I
Oh
I
my god.
thought it would like pan to like his legs or it pan to like the reaction. You saw him whip the kid. Obviously,
But
I'm
it was
assuming
just
it
that
was.
one scene, and then the other
Yeah,
ones, it was like he was taking his belt off, and then they closed the door, that
yeah.
type of thing. But I do feel like they had to do it just the once, just to show
To
like how bad
see.
it was.
Yeah. I just think that the way that they did it and the way that they characterized everything and they weren't shying away from the disgusting scenes that happened in Michael's life, that it just honestly baffled me. The one thing and the one qualm that I had with the movie is where on earth was Janet? Janet was
That's
not there.
exactly. But I actually think she came out and said she didn't. She refused
Yeah,
the right part to that. She didn't
yeah.
want to be in it.
Well, where was the Wiz? I know that they filmed
There was
it.
there was
They
a load of
filmed it.
people that were missing from
Yeah.
it.
Wow, they filmed The Wiz because Coleman posted a photo on his Instagram story, and in the back it had all of the makeup of Jafar, and it had him as The Wiz with like Diana Ross. You're another enemy. Can't stand her. Um, but
'Cause I can't
they
think who was supposed to the Cat Graham was playing someone, and I can't think who
it
it
was
was.
Diana.
Yeah,
They did film
and
Diana.
because she posted on her story, Cat Graham was, Bonnie in The Vampire Diaries,
Yeah.
and she put up an Instagram story to say, like, "Oh, I just wanted to say, like, there are scenes that I was put in, and due to, like, director differences, they have been removed, so I just want everyone to be aware of that in case they wonder why
And so
my
they
scenes
should.
don't appear."
After what she did to Michael, so she should have do not like Diana Ross at all. Dirty Diana.
No, I think that was about Princess Diana. That's
Either
what I'm
way,
gonna choose to believe
yeah.
instead.
But I think, okay, so obviously it starts with like Jackson 5. One thing that I will say is I didn't realise how fast they rose to fame like that. That is one thing that I didn't know because obviously Jackson 5, like when did they film? 1960s, 1970s?
Yeah.
Like I didn't realise how quick to fame that they rose. So
But I think back then, that would have been quite a big thing because there was no social media, there was
1
no
million percent.
it was purely word of
Yeah.
mouth, and it was purely down to that, assistant being at that show.
Yeah. Crazy. And she was a baddie with the cig. Oh, what a baddie. I honestly was just so astounded. So obviously after Jackson 5, like you see the behind the scenes of everything and like how obviously they rose from like that little house to the big mansion that they had. I honestly was just what happened after the Jackson? I'm trying to like recite it in my head because this has been 10 days since I watched this movie.
I
So
watched it yesterday.
you're fresher than me. So you should be tipped off.
My memory's bad.
Yeah. So obviously we go then from forming the group to then obviously producing in the studio with
Motown.
yeah, with Motown Records when they got signed. Obviously then they're rising to fame and then obviously Michael's like the standout star, which obviously they're all very talented, they're all incredible.
But you've got to think in like songs like ABC, I Want You Back, all you can hear is Michael
1
singing.
million percent. And I think that obviously he was the standout star. And I think that obviously Joe Jackson, he obviously knew this. Everyone knew it. The brothers knew it. Everybody knew that. The mom knew it, that Michael was the standout star. I will say this about the mom.
She
You,
annoyed me.
1 million percent. I understand it from a perspective of like, you know, maybe she was like fearing for her,
Yeah.
like domestic abuse, but you've got so many children. Like, what? Didn't they have 9 children in the end, right? You've got so many children. As a mom, you've got to put yourself and your children above that horrible man. And I feel like, you know, that scene, obviously, I'm assuming we'll come on to it in the hospital after the incident, where she was like, I'm sorry, Michael, it shouldn't have taken that for you to then actually open your eyes. And I do think she was a good mom, other than that. And I think they portrayed her quite well because I don't think she was a bad mom. I just think.
No, because she always went up and checked on him and whatever when
Yeah.
things had happened. I do think it was genuinely like the times like that.
Oh,
That would have
1 million
been very
percent.
normal
Yeah.
back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like the man is in charge, abuse with the kids. Like that's why they made it illegal. Not like, do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why it's illegal now. But that's very much that would have been quite a normal thing. I think, like in
100%.
terms of older generation families, I do think that's quite a common thing that you'd have.
Yeah. And then obviously after that, it goes into sort of Michael being in the studio on his own with Quincy Jones. Now I've mentioned Quincy Jones. There's a reason why I'm wearing, in my opinion, Baby Michael, The Weekend, who I think is a Baby Michael. Because yeah, that's a different story for no. Do you know he's got a song, like he's done a cover of Dirty Diana?
What a slay. I bet that
It's
bang.
so good. It's so good. It
I'll
was
have
on
to
his
give it a
debut
listen.
album. It's called DD. You know how to make it a bit different.
I do think
But
though, if Michael was alive now, like I saw a TikTok and it was like, oh, if Michael was alive now, what artist do you think he'd like? And I genuinely think it would be The
The Weekend,
Weeknd.
1 million percent.
Or maybe a bit of JB.
Yeah. Everyone says that like Baby Michael is Bruno Mars or Chris Brown. It's The Weekend. They also saying that he sampled Michael throughout everything, but I'm going off topic here. But obviously, and Quincy Jones, The Weekend worked with him on purpose because he loves Michael. But obviously being in the studio, I was just absolutely crazy at the scene of when he just couldn't stay still.
But this is where I actually think Michael was neurodivergent,
One million
because he
percent.
literally couldn't even stand still just to sing a little bit of a song.
Yeah.
And it was the fact, like, he was like constantly fidgeting, moving. And that is very, like, I feel like if that was like nowadays, people would have picked up on that straight away. But I think
Yeah.
back then,
They didn't
they'd
even
seen it as
have
like one in a
this.
million of people, whereas now it's like it's something like 1 in 3 people or something
Yeah.
like that. And I do think that genuinely is even down to like when he'd grown older, and obviously he had that Peter Pan syndrome. But I actually think that's kind of just he has just a childish mindset. Like, I'm not being funny. Look at me. I'm the biggest Disney adult you'll meet. I love Lego. I love teddies. Like, and I'm 23 years of age.
Nothing wrong with that.
But there is nothing wrong with
It's
that.
called personality. Like, I just think that the way that, and I think that's what people like saw in him. Like, obviously, I think at the time people didn't see that, but I think people saw that
But
he was
that's how they
different,
saw that he was, because he was
different.
different. He was strange.
Yeah, but like
It's okay to be different.
obviously, the scene in the studio where baby Michael like hugs
I
the
know.
producer.
I loved the relationships that they had all throughout,
Yeah,
showing, you know, almost the father figures that he
yeah.
did have. I
Oh,
loved that.
his security.
Oh, stop it!
I
I
love
love
him.
him.
You know the scene when they're
Phil,
filming, we'll come on to it, but the music video when he starts doing the dance
I
behind the
know.
scene, I
I
love
love
him.
him,
It's so cute.
and
But
he really understood Michael, which
oh,
you
he
could
was
see.
Michael's proper
Because even when
guardian.
there was that scene where he'd gone to the toy shop and he started doing the signatures, and he looked like a proud dad
Yeah.
just watching him sign all the
So
signatures, and he was
cute.
just like,
Yeah. I honestly think it was so cute. So then obviously we go from him producing in the studio to then we then fast forward to then Jafar, don't we? Sort of as teenage Michael now. Um and after that, like he's like rising to fame. He's like basically being like, well, I can do this on my
yeah.
own. Like, I want to do this on my own because obviously Jackson 5, they didn't, he, like, Michael didn't write the songs, like, they were written for him. It wasn't
And he
what he
had
wanted
loads of
to do.
ideas.
And he's such a visionary and he's such an artist that, like, he's not a musician, he's an artist. Well, he's both, but he's an artist. Like, he had so many, like, visions that he couldn't do in that band. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen that happen so much. Camille Cabello. No, like, I'm not comparing Member to Camille Cabello, just getting that straight. But like, there's so many, we've seen it happen so much. But I think that obviously then he's in the studio and then we finally get to see Bubbles, which is so cute. Now listen,
All the pets, I just couldn't
yeah,
keep up. I was like, what is going on?
the
The
draft
zoo.
through me. But obviously, Robbie Williams then comes out and like, do you remember Bruce Willis, who was a monkey? He comes out and Molly touched him. Why is Robbie Williams in the film? Absolutely dying. But obviously, I get creeped out by monkeys because of how human like they are, and I was like, how are they going to do this? It is
They
CGI.
use
And I'm not being
CGI, yeah. They didn't use
stupid, am I?
Bubbles.
I was like, bless him. He's still kicking. Bless
No,
him.
Bubbles is actually in an animal sanctuary, which was part of Michael's last wishes,
Yeah.
in that he fully paid for him to be there. But I know that a photo cropped up of like Jafar with Bubbles. It was AI.
Big shock,
They
man.
chose, like, Jafar came out and said, no, Prince, his cousin,
Yeah.
which is Michael's son. He come out and said, no, it was AI. Like, we would never have done that because it would have traumatized Bubbles. Because obviously, when Michael died, he wouldn't have known any different. Do you know what I mean? Like, he would have thought he
I'm gonna
left.
go. I'm gonna
So
cry in a
they
minute.
didn't do that because of how similar Jafar looks to Michael. That would have just
Yeah.
traumatized Bubbles. So they
Yeah.
didn't do that. That photo was a cute photo though, but it
Mm.
was fake.
But like, I honestly, because him and Bubbles had the cutest relationship. Do you remember that clip where like Michael just goes and Bubbles sits down and just acts?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he did the moonwalk,
Yeah.
Bubbles? I honestly like I get creeped out by monkeys. So when that scene, and I obviously knew that scene was coming up, I was like, oh my god, here we go. I thought it was so cute. And then I think we then start to go into like the deeper parts of Michael's life, which obviously I knew would come in. Like the nose job incident really threw me. Like that bit where Joe then gets him to take it off. I was just so heartbroken because I think that Michael was I think he was stunning. Like he had nothing wrong with him. He
And
didn't
it was
need
the
to have a
dad.
nose job,
It
and
was
it was
his fault.
him. And obviously
Bloody Joe.
then, Yeah, absolute scum of the earth. Um, I obviously think that then after that we start to see the complications of
But
it.
even I thought what I thought was is the fact that they introduced his vitiligo really early on. So when he went for
Yeah,
his nose thing, they obviously you saw it on the wrist,
yeah.
and I think they're obviously doing that because in part two they're gonna have to.
Well,
But
like
this is
have
what
a
I'm
makeup.
because this is what I'm thinking because obviously I'm sure it is Jafar is doing it again,
Yeah, he is.
but it's then like
Well, it's all filmed. It's
that's
all
what I
done.
mean. Like, is that crossing? Is he going to be fully white or is he going to be
Well, I
like
mean, obviously they teased it at the end of the film because obviously it was bad, and that's when he started to go really like pale, didn't he? Um, but when we get to the later stages of Michael's life, I'm very intrigued about how they do it. I'm also
yeah?
very intrigued about how they do the death and how they do the controversy, which obviously we will be coming on to. But in terms of the film, I thought that the timeline, I really enjoyed the timeline of it. Like, I didn't think that they missed out any particular like moments or scenes. I don't think that they missed out a lot. I like seeing the recording of Off the Wall. Thriller for me was honestly so intriguing because I like see the scene in particular that I really, really enjoyed as like a fan and not just of Michael, of like music and the industry and how it works is the scene when he had the like post-it notes of the songs and he was going through and he was picking the name of it and then he
Well,
picked Thriller
thriller.
because of his love for horror films. Unpopular opinion, I actually think that Human Nature would have been a better album title than Thriller. That's just
But I
like,
think it's because, like, you think of all the songs. Like, I know so many people. Obviously, Human Nature is my favorite,
yeah,
but I know so many people who don't actually know that song. Whereas
yeah,
it'd be hard to find someone who doesn't know Thriller,
yeah.
unless it's my mom. My mom did think it was Killer,
No, bro,
but she just does that
little mix up there.
regularly. But
Yeah,
that's on her. But it'd be hard to walk across, like meet someone in the street who doesn't know Thriller. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think the decision that was made was the right thing to do. But
yeah,
I liked the way that they like all the different names, and
yeah,
it showed the process of it.
yeah,
And I think that's the thing. Like you've got to think there's so many music artists, but you never get to see the process they make to get to that stage. Like, and what I used to love the most about Michael Jackson was his music videos were like short films. So like when that come up, I
yes,
used to watch it on the big box TV in the living room. And on MTV, I used to love watch it because they were telling a story, and there's nothing I love more than
in
a
a
story.
story,
I feel
100%.
like it really makes a song.
Yeah, I loved like obviously then once he's doing the Thriller album, we knew what was coming up. And as soon as I saw that girl in the red and blue outfit, I knew what was coming. Childhood trauma of watching that music video. I knew what was coming, but I've seen that Jafar went on Jimmy Fallon and they did a side by side, and it is creepy how similar they did. Props to the makeup department
But
because
they even filmed it in the same place that the
yeah,
original movie, like
yeah,
original film was done
yeah,
in, and
in
they.
the
But apparently, it took them weeks to make it look back that many years ago because it
identical.
was so developed in they said it took weeks just to do. They had to like cordon off the whole area for so long to make it look like how it was in the
The
music
same,
video.
yeah. One of my like other favorite scenes is that when like the manager and Michael go into the like meeting with the head of, is it MTV or something, and
No,
all he
he's the head of. He's not head of Sony. He's the head of the music people,
yeah,
and he had a contact with
yeah,
MTV because they never MTV wouldn't have put black
that's
artists on, and that
exactly
was the
that's
big
that
controversy
scene,
thing.
yeah,
Like, I don't see the problem, but the that's why like his music video, and he put so much effort into those music videos. Like
yeah,
they would be over 10 minutes long,
yeah,
and the song would only be like 4 minutes.
yeah. I love how like the one like he asked like Michael, "Would you doing so well?" But like Thriller is the best album of all time. 70 million. That's 70 million of like CDs and vinyl. With no TikTok, no social media, nothing. That is mental. No one's beating that record. Like I think the next album
Because even the awards
is
he's got. I think it was
Eight in One
two
Night.
Hall of Fames.
Yeah,
He's got two Rock and Roll
yeah.
ones. He's got so
Eight
like
Grammys in one night, which is a record. He's he sold 70 million copies, which is the record. The next one, I think it's 21, which is
he broke. I
35.
think when I looked it, I'm sure it was like 28 Guinness World Records.
Yeah, it's absolutely,
Fair
and this
play.
is what really sort of annoys me when people are like, "Oh, who's the next Michael Jackson?" They're big. No one on this goddamn planet is ever going to reach as big as MJ. Like, I saw this stat the other day. How true it is, I don't know. That 95% of people on this planet today know who Michael Jackson is.
Yeah, I don't think I know anyone who doesn't know who
Yeah,
he is.
I'm not being funny. He died 17 years ago, and yet there's still people. 95% of the people that know who he is.
And it's because it
Like,
crossed over so many. Because you think you've got all the generations of people who would have listened to Jackson 5, then
yeah,
when they transitioned into the Jacksons, and then when it was Michael, like, that is what, because it was 20 years just of the Jacksons.
yeah.
And you've got to think then Michael as well, like, that is such a long span of time. And you think how many generations that is like intertwining with, it's wild.
Honestly, crazy. And
One of
like,
my favourite scenes was when he went to the gang members and he watched it on the
yes,
TV and he saw the whole thing with the Bloods and the Crips. And his brother, I can't remember which brother it was, but in the interview at the premiere, he said about the fact that he was one of the first people to see his music video when he done it. And he come into the house, he said, "Oh, I've got something to show you." Put the VHS in, and he was like, and Michael was getting all excited. He said, "They're real gang members." He's like, "He's from Blood Devon," and the fact that they were rival gangs, and yet they still came together for him and his
MJ.
music. I said that really just shows it all.
The impact he's got, the absolute impact he's got. And like, when people are like, "Oh, well, like Taylor Swift is just as big as Michael Jackson." Listen, I'm a Swiftie through and through, but fuck me, nobody's as close to Michael Jackson. You are not getting anywhere close to the surface of him and his like actual impact. Like, he'd come at his concerts, he'd come up on stage and just stand there for 20 minutes, by the way. 20 minutes just stood there, and people would faint, they'd pass out, some people would die because of it. Like, that is crazy. Like, his impact is unbeknown. Like, Thriller is the biggest album of all time, and I think it's 46 years old or something like that. Came out 1972. 44 years old. That's mental. That's actually crazy. And like, I the recording process of seeing that, the music videos of that, I thought were absolutely amazing. Jafar, it's like watching the music video again.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, like being a kid and watching the music
And then
video.
he rehearsed that for so much time to the point he was rehearsing, he literally had blisters on his feet
As he should.
because, and I'm like, because that Michael is such a hard person to like impersonate because he was so unique
Yeah.
with his dance moves, his sing, even the way he would like come up. He was that is someone who's that is really hard to mimic that. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you know what my hat goes off to Jafar because I can imagine how much time. And I think for him, I'm guessing it probably meant more because it was his uncle.
Yeah.
And that's why they picked the perfect person to be him because you're not going to find anyone who's going to put in as much effort as a bloody family member. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when it's about his legacy.
Yeah. I think the difference is that it's good that they did a family member because it's not just a paycheck for him like it would any other actor. Like,
It'll
it's
affect
giving
him.
his
Yeah.
it's giving his uncle's legacy. So I 100% think they went with the right choice. Also, not bad that he's good on the eye. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I love? The fact that they called it Michael, not Michael Jackson. They didn't want to bring
You don't
attention to
need
the
it.
fact that it was the Jacksons or nothing to do with that. And that was like a decision that they made was to not do it anything to the Jacksons because that wouldn't have been like he chose to go solo type of thing.
But
So
also,
they did
like,
Michael.
you say Michael and everyone knows who you're on about. Like, do you know what I mean? But they're not on about Michael Barrymore. Like, do you know what I mean? So you know who Michael is. But I honestly think that the way that they did it with the timeline was honestly absolutely incredible. I didn't know that there was a second film coming. So obviously it finishes with him performing bad. Honestly, I think the highlight of the movie was the speech about when he's quitting the band. That for
And
me,
that was word for word what actually
yeah, I've
happened in
seen
the
the
real
clip.
concert.
Honestly, the eye contact, the sassiness, was incredible. And then the scene when he walks off after Joe's pestering him backstage, and the security guard is like, didn't he sound like, "Joe, you let it go, it's over now"? Absolutely incredible. What a diva. Love him. And then obviously, I think the main scene of it all was the Pepsi incident, which I didn't think that they'd show it in that much detail. Like, I didn't think that they would go there. And obviously, we've all seen the actual clip of when it happened to Michael. I honestly think if that didn't happen right now, he would still be here right now.
Yeah, because that caused so much trauma
Addiction.
ongoing and stuff like he obviously had insomnia anyway. and then he had third-degree burns that affected his nerve cells, and then he was in so much pain, and obviously, what are you gonna have to manage the pain? Do you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
there's no way, like, even the doctor in that video said, like, because he said, "I don't want to take drugs." And even the doctor said, like, frankly, you're not going to get through this unless you take your blood. You're not going to be able to live without having painkillers because that is going to be so painful.
Yeah.
And then what I loved was the fact that whenever he said about how much he's getting paid out by Pepsi, the whole of his money went to the burns
The
unit.
ward. Yeah. The one scene that I did get a bit confused about is, you know, when Joe is sat in Michael's room and he's basically forcing him, he's like, "Oh, you will be doing this Jackson 5 victory tour."
Yeah.
But he's holding the door handle.
Because he's scared.
Is that what he's
He was
doing?
he was
Because
gripping it
I
because he
thought he
was
was gonna
scared.
smash it on him
No,
or
no, he was
something.
holding it because he was scared
Yeah,
because obviously he didn't know who was about to get beaten or not.
yeah. I honestly
Because even
think,
trauma from Joe,
yeah, he's
and
disgusting
that's
and
why mentally he was still
yeah.
a child
Well, if I'm being completely honest,
because he
I've
had no
seen
childhood.
conspiracy theories all around the gaff about Michael, but I genuinely think that it wouldn't shock me if Joe set up that Pepsi incident. It wouldn't shock me.
But
They've
that's why the
done
mom said, like, to him about the fact that, like, if he didn't force him to do that whole thing with Pep, that would never have
would
happened.
never have
And that's
happened.
why everyone's like, oh, blame Pepsi for this, that, and the other. But I'm like, blame Joe.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pepsi, you know.
They've got their part to play in it.
And I would like to say that the sales for the last week for Pepsi have dipped, which they should do, because you know what?
Yeah.
They should be, they should carry that with them.
Yeah. Not Pepsi Max. That weren't around then.
This is why you go Coca-Cola, if you ask me.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
They
But
haven't burned anybody.
yeah. But I honestly think that the whole of it was just so, like, the way that they filmed it was so to the actual, like, point of what actually happened. And I think I like the fact that they've ended it on a cliffhanger. I like the fact that they ended it during the Bad World Tour, like, at Wembley. I'm very, very intrigued to see what they put in the second film because
They don't
obviously
care about what should be in there. I need to see that video done
one
again.
million percent.
I'm like, I need to see that again.
I am very intrigued to see about, obviously, I'm
How they
assuming we'll
approach
come on
it.
to it now, but how they talk about the scandals and the death and all of that. So I think, unless there's anything else you want to talk about in the movie, I think we should
Well,
talk
I
about.
think that the two parts, I think it's going to be very like Wicked, where the first one's all happy and then the second
It's
one's
going to
going
be
to take a
horrible.
dark turn. But I think the only part that I was really upset about in the first part was when he wanted to just play Twister with his brothers, and none of them wanted to play with him. I thought I would have played Twister with you, Michael. And you know what? The sales for Twister have also gone up this
As
week.
they should.
People have gone to like the shops to buy them, and the whole shelf. There's loads of other games, but Twister is sold out.
This is the impact.
I love Twister. I can't.
Yeah.
I felt like Michael because I constantly try and get my family members to play Twister, and none of them will play with me.
Oh, bless him. So you're going to get me upset again. I honestly just think that the film itself was incredible. 10/10. I've got no notes. Like, I've genuinely got no
that is a movie I
criticism.
would go to see at the cinema again and again and again.
100%. I'd love to see it in IMAX. I reckon that would be
Well, someone said
incredible.
they seen it in 4D, and they were like, every time there was a music that gets sung about, I'm like, yeah, I want to go.
Yeah?
I want to go to the 4D.
4D? That
Yeah,
looks in here, is it?
Yeah, you can go. It's the Odeon in town has 4D.
Oh, we're going. We're doing it.
I'm sure that the Omniplex has a 4D one, but they're not showing it in the
I know
4D.
they're doing IMAX, but I haven't seen 4D. We're gonna have to do it. That being insane.
And get like, because apparently like they're like every single like music that you get like flung about
the
seat.
That's a gem. We'll be doing that. Well, I think we obviously, talking of MJ, we need to talk about what's going to come up if it comes up in the second film.
I feel like there's no way they can do the second one without addressing.
Well, they have filmed it.
Do you know what I mean?
They have filmed it.
There's no way that they can't include it because that was also a massive part of the last 20 years type of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's really difficult to do it. Yeah. And I think, because I know that people have said that obviously Neverland was sold, but all of the rides and everything have been put back up, which I assume they've done it to film the scenes. Do you know what I mean? So,
wow, Jafar has said they have filmed everything. It's just debates on whether they're going to put it in or not.
because I know that Paris has had a lot to say, the daughter, about
Yeah.
the fact that it's not showing the truth. And I just said, you know what though? I said the first bit, like first part, they've focused on everything positive about what Michael went
Mhm.
through. Obviously, again, like with the trauma he had, they've made sure to include everything that led him to where he was in 1988, type of thing. And then you never, unless it is like Wicked, you're never going to have a 4 hour film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
going
yeah,
to do it in two
exactly.
parts.
1,000,000%. Well, I think talking of scandals, we need to talk about them. Okay, the first one obviously being the skin, and is it vitiligo?
Yes.
I get so angry when people bring this up because when the main one is people bleach your skin. You can't bleach your skin, can you? Is that a
Not unless
thing?
no, but you'd need like gallons of bleach to be able
As
to
I
do
say,
it.
bloody hell.
Like he would had to have been bathing
Yeah.
in
The thing
bleach.
is, this is a condition that a lot of people have.
I just think back then it was a condition that was a real thing, but it only affected, I think it was like 3% of the population
Yeah.
back then. Whereas now there's like, I'm not being funny, KSI has it.
Oh, does
Yeah,
it?
KSI has it.
Oh, no
Because there
way.
was like an interview where they were doing it for like the Sidemen or whatever, and he said about that he has vitiligo, and then someone said, "Oh, was that what Michael Jackson?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I've got."
No
So I
way.
just think it's one of them, like, and obviously he was very big on the autoimmune problems. Michael Jackson was, and it really irritates me because I'm like, nowadays everyone knows about vitiligo. They know that it's a skin condition. You can't help it, and it develops more by stress.
Oh,
So
well,
no
there you
wonder
go.
he was like, and
Yeah.
apparently, obviously, it started literally when he just started doing his own music, and obviously in interviews and whatnot, obviously he looks basically completely white, but it's because you start to lose the pigmentation. So obviously, like my sister's albino, she has no pigmentation. So when she goes out in the sun, she has to have like an umbrella. She has to be covered up, which is why he always had umbrellas and
Yeah.
whatnot, because he would burn, and his chances of skin cancer was so much higher than like the average person. But obviously, his makeup artist would literally cover him from like toe to head, like head to toe,
Yeah.
every day because he was so self-conscious about it. And I sit there thinking, like the Oprah interview
Oh, that
really, it
woman.
really aggravates me, that does that whole interview, because she's literally like attacking him, and I'm thinking,
That's what
he's
she
got a
does.
skin condition, he can't help it. That's no different to anyone else who has a skin condition,
Yeah.
heart condition, body condition. Everyone's got something, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I think obviously he's been brought upon insecurity, and you're going to be insecure about that. Like, obviously, I know that nowadays you see on TikTok that more people are like expressing their vitiligo, which is amazing to see. But also, he is a pop star on a stage where
With a
50
platform.
million cameras are on him. I know obviously it's not as bad as nowadays, but you've still got people. It's the biggest and most famous person on the planet.
But I even
Like,
think if it was nowadays, no one would bat an eyelid
yeah. And I think
at
that
all.
people just don't even, and even when he's explaining the situation, people just put two and two together and come up with five. Like, they don't even listen to him. Like, there's nothing bad about like putting makeup on to make sure that your skin's even, because I'd probably do the same if I was in that situation.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? I've seen people do that like on TikTok when they cover stuff
Yeah.
up. Like, he's the most famous person. He's got cameras, he's got millions of eyes on him everywhere he goes. Like, of course he's gonna want to do that. And that is his God-given right to do that. Like, he has every right. And at the end of the day, the bit that annoys me the most is that he's a music artist at that. His job is to make music that you listen to and then to perform that music on stage. What the hell does it matter what he looks like or what color his skin is today? Why does that matter? It's got no impact on the music that he's making. Like, I mean, he could be because he was stunning. He's not a model. His job is not a model. Like, so stop focusing on that. It really annoys me. And for people to come up with bleaching the skin, and Oprah Winfrey, I hope you count your days, love, because I cannot stand that woman.
But even in his autopsy, the guy said that he had it. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I'm thinking, and people still.
yeah,
But I saw something online the other day about the fact that if he was as big as he was now, that our generation would heal him, because I feel like our generation is so much more open minded than people the
I
older
agree.
generations. Even in terms of anything you kind of think of, we are all a bit more open minded. We're a bit more like seeing the world differently. And I do genuinely think our generation would have healed him
I agree.
100%. because he'd have got the love that he deserved, basically,
Yeah,
not the hate.
yeah. I agree, 1,000,000%. I think that and like he's even come out in interviews and said, "I love being black. I am black." Like all of this, like because I did see a clip where in an interview he said the N word and everyone in the room forgot that he was black. Like they went, "You should be saying that," but like he is a proud black man. Like he said that, and it's like one thing that just annoys me is that people come up with all these stupid things, and it's like he can't help it. Like he's gone through this horrendous, horrific thing, and he's got insecurities like all of us. Do you know what I mean?
Because his makeup artist, obviously, she was in an interview and she basically said, like, to start off with, it was easier to cover up the lighter parts with darker makeup. She said, but then he was that stressed, and you've got to think he's literally had third-degree burns, he's got nerve damage, he's got abuse in a childhood, everyone in the media attacked him for everything. The stress of that, like,
Yeah,
it's going to develop so much
one
quicker
million
than it
percent.
should have. And it's she said in the interview, it got to the point where like his skin was he had more lighter patches than darker, so then they had to match and cover up the darker patches because he was so conscious about it. And that's why in a lot of his interviews where he looks completely white, whenever the body makeup's removed, he wasn't. He
Yeah,
actually still had all the black, but it's just that that's the way they had to do it because it was one or the other.
yeah.
Do you know what
You
I
had
mean?
to. Wow, I think obviously now we need to talk about the other scandal, which obviously is in terms of with children. I honestly am going to try not to scream because I get so passionate about this and I defend Michael Jackson like it's my dad or my brother. Like I
Like it's my
genuinely,
duty.
yeah, it's like I'm getting paid overtime to do this shit because I feel so angry about this. And there's just, right, so I'm just going to come out. He's not a nonce. Like he's not a nonce. He's never been a nonce, and he never would be. The first thing that people have to say is he let children sleep in his bed. He never slept in the bed with the children. He slept in either a separate room or another room. This is Michael Jackson, probably one of the richest people on the planet,
Like
right?
he only has one bedroom.
Yeah, he would have slept in the other side of the room, right? Listen, I'm not saying it's morally right to let a kid sleep in your bed. I'm not saying it's morally right because it's not, right? But it's not illegal. He's never done anything illegal.
And the fact that the FBI followed him around 15 years, not one piece of evidence. And I feel like
Thank you.
are people not putting
Yeah,
two and two together? Like an FBI agent has literally followed him, and this is FBI, it's not even police. They know how to do their jobs for 15 years and found nothing.
zero.
Found niche.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, all of the people, like the kids and the families that reported him for this, they went to a lawyer before they went to the police. Is that not a red flag to
Like I'm
you?
not being I remember having this conversation with my mom. If that was me, best believe my mom's going to the police. She
Straight
couldn't
away, you
care
go to the
less
police.
about the money or lawyer or
Yeah.
suing.
Yeah. And I think you are an absolute disgusting human being to let your kid be healed by Michael Jackson and then use that to get money for your child. You are disgusting. Like the Home Alone guy, Macaulay Culkin, he's come out and literally said he's done nothing. And I
Yeah,
think,
because he's godfather to his Michael Jackson's two
yeah,
kids.
and it's like he had a childhood where he had a child's mentality because he didn't have a childhood. He had Peter Pan syndrome. He related to kids more because he saw the world for what it was, and the animals and children are so much nicer than adults because they grim up the world. They're disgusting
And
people.
they're not trying to use him,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like
unlike the parents.
I get so passionate. I'm actually getting really worked up by it. But like, he's not. There's not 1 ounce of evidence, and I hate when you say you like Michael Jackson. Yeah, but he's a nonce. He's not a nonce. He's not a nonce. And this is the thing that I'm getting worked up already. Look, this is the thing. It's the same people that will listen to like Kanye West, who's a full-blown fucking Nazi. It's the same people that listen to Diddy. It's the same people that listen to Tory Lanez, Chris Brown. Just saying. Like, it's the same people that genuinely listen to bad people and then come out and go, he's a nonce. Practice what you preach and look at the people that you listen to before you come for a totally innocent person. Michael Jackson tried to heal the world. Like, they don't care about us. Earth Song, all of these people, like what he did
Human
in the
nature.
Beat It music video, Human Nature, you really are Human Nature stan, as you should be. He really tried to heal the world, right? I'm really getting worked up, but like, and you have torn a man down with his legacy and you have ruined, well, tried to ruin a career that lasted like 50 fucking years in the music industry. right? You wouldn't have half of the people that you listen to if you didn't have Michael Jackson today, period.
There's
And
so many artists who have come out and said Michael Jackson was their inspiration when they were younger.
1,000,000%. You wouldn't have the people you listen to. You wouldn't have dance. You wouldn't have music videos. You wouldn't have MTV. Like, you wouldn't have black artists played on television. You probably would nowadays, but not as advanced as it was because of Michael Jackson. You wouldn't have it. And it boils my piss because it's like, you don't know him. I mean, I don't know him. I'd love to have known him. But like, what happened to innocent before proven guilty? And he's never been
And
proven guilty.
he was proved innocent multiple occasions.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't mind, but I follow this guy on TikTok, and he's a Michael Jackson historian. Like, he's literally done a degree in Michael Jackson.
As you should.
Fair play. And he come out and he showed he's someone, he won't say something unless he's got about 50 things to back it up. And it was about this woman was doing a video saying about how he's like a nonce and whatnot. And he come out with so much evidence against, I think it was Rob someone, the two people that basically came out first against him, and they were the ones that went with the lawyer, and then they made that bloody Leaving Neverland documentary. Oh, I can't even. But the dates that they gave to their lawyers about the fact that like something had happened in the train station at Neverland, the planning permission hadn't even been accepted for that in the years that they'd given. So how is something going to have happened in something where, you know, the planning permission to build it hasn't even been accepted yet? It wasn't even there.
Because they're thick shits, that's what it is. Like, they just want money.
Didn't even get anywhere with that because everything, and then they kept changing it, and then they were like, oh, but they're kids, so they could have gone No.
I think the sheer audacity to go into Neverland, which he's used his hard-earned money for, he didn't have to do that, right? And to use all of that against him, I honestly think they should be put in prison for lying and wasting police's time. Honestly, I cannot stand when people say, if you say that Michael Jackson, I'm such a fan, but like, if you ever say that MJ's a nonce around me, I'm that passionate about it, I will probably not speak to you again, or I will literally scream in your face defending with facts. Because when people say he's a nonce, where's the facts to back it up? Whereas we've got
multiple facts to prove against
to back it up. It really annoys me, and I'm very intrigued about how they do it about the second film, because I think they need to.
There's no way they can't. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, that it's going to be a very short film. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that the way that they treated him in interviews, like Oprah Winfrey, Martin Bashir, count your fucking days, you're my biggest enemy.
There's that whole thing with Jack Black as well at the award show.
And do you remember when they got Britney to serve him a fake award? Which, by the way, Britney didn't know was happening, so I am backing Britney on this. Why would it?
I felt like the whole world was just against him for no reason.
Yeah. And it's
that industry was all against him for no reason.
Yeah, because he spoke out about Sony. Like, he said that Tommy Mottola is the devil. And this is why I'm 90% sure that man was killed, if he's dead.
But it's like that whole interview where he's like defending himself and saying, that's not me, go to the guy down the road. The guy that lived down the road was P. Diddy. He literally lived 2 doors down.
And then when people love to throw in the face of the photo with Epstein, he was getting inside knowledge to save the kids. That's why he made Neverland. Are you stupid to not know that? Like, I'm really getting worked up. But like, I'm so passionate about it.
You know what I think breaks my heart the most is, and it really keeps me up at night, because I sit there and I think that man died thinking the whole world hated him.
I'm gonna go.
And this is why I sit there and I think I'm so happy that, you know, so much people have found such joy from this film, and like it's really rekindled that kind of childhood, like with the songs and everything like that. Because you know what, that's what he was all about. He was all about, you know, giving people joy, and he just wanted happiness for everybody. And this is where it really makes me upset. It really upsets me because I sit there at night and I just think, like, he died thinking everyone hated him.
I'm gonna go in a minute. Stop! At the pod, I'm gonna cry. But I honestly just think that the way that the media bashed him and everything, like, he is just such a sweet person, and this is why I genuinely think that he was murdered by that doctor and they overdosed him, because they've even come out and said that there was nothing in Michael Jackson's body that would dictate that he would have died. He didn't have like the big C, God forbid. He didn't have anything wrong.
In perfect health, other than all the drugs that the doctor had pumped him full of, because it wasn't even just the propofol. I can't pronounce it. It wasn't, which is basically it's an anaesthetic that they give people who are about to have surgery. And
Exactly.
the doctor should have stayed with him whilst he was sleeping and whatnot, because you're not supposed to leave someone who's under that. And he went off. He had emails of people, phone calls. He left. He came back. At which point he wasn't breathing. That's basically what happened. But he also had, I think it was 5 other different types of drugs in his system, which were all to do with helping him sleep. And I'm thinking,
It really
I
just
can't.
upsets me because I think that when he come out and was talking about the industry, about Sony, and saying that like Tommy Mottola is the devil and all of this, like
Someone defo got to that doctor. I'm
and
sorry.
the phone call the night before he died actually breaks my heart. You know, the one where I'm actually getting upset, but the one where he was like, I think they're after me. I think they're gonna kill me. Like I'm genuinely like, people have, it really upsets me because obviously there's so many conspiracies about how he died, if he's still alive. I genuinely think that he was killed because he spoke out against the devil, and that for me is like,
And obviously, we've spoke about Sony and everything, like their
yeah,
involvement with certain artists and
thank you,
what that
Beyonce.
they're part of and whatnot. But
Yeah, I just think that he come out and spoken about it, and there's people with blood on their hands that have taken, like, not to go too deep, but they've taken joy out of people's lives in the world, because I'm wholeheartedly convinced that he would still be making music today
I
because he
don't know
loved
what
it.
they put in that movie, but what drugs they put in that movie. But I can't not, like, all I think about all day. It's all I think about.
Yeah,
It took over my life the
yeah.
last week.
And I think that it's hard because obviously a lot of people are probably coming out now being like, everyone's a Michael Jackson fan. We can vouch that we are huge fucking fans. I've got videos of us singing. Our go-to karaoke song is fucking Dirty Diana. I'm not inserting the clip because I'm not humbling me, you Molly and Meg. But I just can adore him.
And me.
I just love him so much.
Like,
And
I actually get so upset when, like, I'll be sitting there thinking, and then it hits me that he's not even here anymore, and then I'll get really upset by it. And then, like, I'll go about my day, and then it just hits me at random points in the day, and it's a bit like when Liam Payne died. Like, I took that really personally too.
yeah,
But this, I just, like, it just hits you at a certain point, and I just sit there and I just
yeah.
have a little moment to myself.
I think it upsets me as well because, and I've always said this about, like, if Amy Winehouse was still alive, I would have seen Amy Winehouse live by now. I think obviously I would say about Michael Jackson, but obviously the London shows the month before he died were meant to be his last. So I would have flown to America for it. But like, I am just so jealous of anyone who's ever got to see him.
No, when he died, he was doing a comeback tour. My mum had tickets
Yeah, but no.
for London.
Yeah, but that was meant to be his last tour after that.
Oh, yeah.
But
That makes more sense.
yeah, because the tour was called like This Is It. It was called the This Is It tour. He was not meant to, but I would honestly do anything to go see him. I'm actually really getting worked up now. But I think on that note, we need to do our song of the year. So it's not going to be any surprise if we pick. I was toying between two. So my favourite MJ song is Another Part of Me. But I am going to go with Dirty Diana because I feel like that is our group song.
Yeah. And I, as you probably can tell, because I've said it so many times, I am going to go with Human Nature.
You should.
So if you're not an MJ stan, get to know you should be. And you know what? I just can't say anything more. If you're not an MJ stan, then we can't be friends.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.